The Red Death had long been feeding on the land. No disease more deadly, a greater killer, or more fearful to be seen. Blood was its mark, along with sharp pains in the body and circles running in the mind, and there was bleeding through the skin, though there were no cuts or brokenness. And then finally dead. The red spots on the face of the sick man made all the other men turn away from him, afraid to offer help. The disease in its entirety, from beginning to end, lasted only half an hour. Prospero, ruler of this land, saw that half of his kingdom had died. So he invited 1,000 of his happy, healthy friends to come move far away with him into a stone palace, surrounded by a wall also made of stone, reaching as high as the heavens, closed by an iron gate. Within these walls, they had all they needed for pleasure. There was music for dancing, food to eat, and cocktails to drink. Cheers, my friends. I said cheers. Perhaps we gave them too much. Yes, they had all they needed to feel safe, to forget the Red Death, and the world was left to fend for itself. Months passed, and Prospero, to lighten everyone's spirits, invites them all to a masquerade. Oh, how lovely the clothes they would wear, the masks with which they would adorn themselves. What a true sight of richness! This masquerade. Within this palace were 7 rooms, unique in their own way, yet similar in one. Each room had 3 pointed windows reaching from the floor to the ceiling. And they too were special, for they matched the color of the room they were in. No more than 1 room could be seen at a time in this winding palace. The first room was the blue room, and blue were its windows. The second was the purple, and purple were its windows. Then the green, then the yellow, and the white, and the violet. And the last room was special in its own way, for it was black. Black as night, or late afternoon. And the windows of this room too were special, but they did not match the color of the room they were in. No, the windows of this room were red, of blood color. Each room had its own unique light. There were changes shaping the faces of the dancers within them, so much so that few dared enter the black and red room for the frightful familiarity of the red death she bore. Within this room stood a clock made of blackwood, and something strange with color. At the top of each hour, the clock would chime, and its chime was so beautiful, it was as if it was its own music. So much so that the music itself Nevertheless, it was a lovely masquerade. They danced from room to room, they ate, they were merry. And again the clock would strike, and again the music would stop, and again the dancers would listen. But this time, before the clock would strike its final chime, there in the blue room, they noticed a masquerade they'd never seen before. Someone new. Gossip and curiosity filled the room, but their curiosity quickly turned to fear. For the clothes the masquerader wore were those of rags, rags as though he were preparing for the grave, and the mask that he wore, dark, broken, shriveled. He looked like a dead man, so much so that those around him could not tell the difference, and then their fear quickly turned to horror, for upon the mask, if it was a mask, the red spots. He was dressed as the Red Death itself. No one dared go near him. No one dared touch him. When Prospero entered the blue room and looked upon the masquerader, he cried,
"Who dares? Stop him! Seize him! Remove his mask so we may see who we hang at sunrise!"
But no one dared. The masquerader then, slow in pace, moved toward them and past them, and even past Prospero, who he too was frozen in his own fear. No one dare follow as he moved from the blue room to the purple, from the purple to the green, from the green to the yellow, from the yellow to the white, from the white to the violet. And finally, he stood tall in front of the blackwood clock in the black and red room. Prospero, the only brave enough to follow behind, knife held high, ready to strike the stranger, only a few feet away, hand back, ready to plunge. And then there was a scream, and the sound of the knife falling to the floor, and the shining glimmer of its steel against the dark.